They smile, they wave, they take the oath with their hand on the Bible and the other raised to the nation. They promise change, they promise freedom, they promise to serve the people. But what if the most powerful leaders on earth aren't really in charge? What if, behind every president, prime minister, and elected official, there's a hidden hand pulling the strings? They don't appear on ballots. You've never seen them campaign. They don't answer to you, and yet, for over a century, they've controlled the outcome of every major decision on the planet. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is power real, organized, and deeply entrenched. It's called the Council on Foreign Relations. And whether you know it or not, they've already shaped your world. Founded in 1921, in the aftermath of World War I, the Council on Foreign Relations (CFR) was created by American and British elites who believed one thing: the world is too complex to be left to democracy. Its founding members, bankers, oil barons, media moguls, and former intelligence agents, they weren't interested in running for office. They were interested in controlling those who do, and they succeeded. Almost every U.S. president since Eisenhower has had deep ties to the council. Presidents, vice presidents, cabinet members, even Supreme Court justices have been CFR members or affiliates. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, because the real ideology is control. Here's the part that will make your skin crawl. The CFR doesn't just influence policy, they create it. Behind closed doors, they hold off the record meetings attended by global CEOs, heads of state, intelligence officials, and top journalists. And what's discussed in those rooms somehow always ends up becoming global policy: war, trade, censorship, surveillance, social engineering. They don't react to events, they forecast them and then decide how the world should respond. Why do you think so many presidents, regardless of party, always seem to push the same agendas? Endless wars, mass surveillance, bailouts for billionaires, and global trade deals that gut local economies, because before the campaign speeches, before the debates, the script is already written. And it's written by people you'll never vote for. In 2008, Barack Obama ran on the promise of ending foreign wars. But before he even took office, he surrounded himself with CFR insiders, people who had supported every conflict in the Middle East. In 2000, George W. Bush promised a humble foreign policy, then filled his administration with CFR-linked hawks who orchestrated the invasion of Iraq. It's not about who's elected, it's about who surrounds them. And time after time, those people trace back to one group, the Council. And it's not just America. Through sister organizations like Chatham House in the UK and Trilateral Commission globally, CFR influence reaches into Canada, Europe, Australia, and beyond. They craft the language of diplomacy. They mold the terms of economic policy. They direct the flow of information. And they do it all from the shadows. Here's how they operate. Step 1. Recruit the best and brightest, not from the streets, but from Ivy League schools, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and elite military academies. Step 2. Indoctrinate them into a worldview where sovereignty is dangerous and global governance is the answer. Step 3. Insert them into key roles: advisors, ambassadors, think tank analysts, media columnists. Suddenly, public opinion shifts. Policy changes, and war becomes peace. Freedom becomes compliance. National interest becomes global alignment. And no one notices because the faces on TV still change every 4 years, but the machine behind them never does. Still not convinced? Let's look at media. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox News. Every major network has had executives, anchors, or board members affiliated with CFR. They control what's said, and more importantly, what isn't. Why do the many networks repeat the exact same phrases? Why do stories about military actions, central banks, or classified operations all seem to push the same line. Because the narrative is coordinated, not by accident, but by design, and when someone steps out of line, they disappear, careers collapse, scandals surface. Suddenly, a rising star is a national pariah. That's the power of soft control. No bullets, no coups, just whispers in the right rooms. Now ask yourself, why do presidents, who should represent the will of the people, so often betray that trust? Why are citizens always told we can't fix poverty, healthcare, or corruption, but there's always money for war? Because war is profitable, and the CFR was born from it. Its early members profited off World War I, expanded their empires during World War II, and used the Cold War to justify decades of intervention. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, Iraq to Libya, Ukraine to Taiwan, there's always a reason to send troops, always a reason to expand surveillance, always a reason to silence dissent, but never a reason to step back. Because endless crisis means endless power. And every time the world falls into chaos, the same people rise, and when a leader doesn't play along, ask JFK, ask Nixon, ask anyone who dared to challenge the deep machinery, they're either removed, disgraced, or silenced. Because the message is clear, you can lead, but only if you follow. Now, here's the chilling truth. Even if you've never heard of the CFR, they've heard of you. They track public sentiment. They anticipate unrest. They influence algorithms. And they prepare counter-narratives before the rebellion even begins. And while you scroll, vote, argue, and protest, they're watching from above, untouched, unaccountable, and fully in control. This isn't a democracy. It's a managed illusion. And the people you think are running the world, they read just actors in a play directed by the Council on Foreign Relations and its global web of influence. Because in this system, every election is a formality. Every leader is replaceable. Every crisis is an opportunity. And every president works for them. Not officially, not openly, but inevitably. Because the cost of disobedience is too high. And the benefits of compliance, everything power can offer. So next time you see a president on stage, smiling, waving, promising change, ask yourself, who is standing behind the curtain? And then ask the one question they never want you to consider. What happens if the curtain burns down?